With Velvet Addiction, here with Jamel Davenport,
Thank you for
life
having me.
coaching trainer,
Yes, sir.
back for interview number two with us.
Round two.
It's funny to me the number of people out there that start off the day with a negative attitude
Yeah.
and never seem to get out of it or snap out of it, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at
Yeah.
some point. That they just are miserable.
Yeah, 100%. Misery is it's a very interesting word. Misery, I like to make a connection with misery is like, good old Southern cooking. It's comforting food. And a lot of that is learned behavior. The things that we're taught and the things that we learn, and this is not for all people, it's just, for the majority. The things that we're taught and the things that we learned is based off how the person before us dealt with certain things. And if you grew up seeing your parents, your guardian, your caretaker, your role model, whomever, how they dealt with things is really a highly likelihood of how you're going to deal with things, unless you do the work and you train yourself to be different. And coming from the 70s and in the 60s and 80s, there was a struggle then. Our history in America serves for struggles. There was race struggle, there was gender struggle. There was class struggles, there were rights struggles, and so everything that basically formulated America dealt with a war, a fight, or a struggle, or someone trying to be liberated, or someone making attempts to be acknowledged. And so most people's stories come from a place of hardship, and so we connect with that. We relate with that. We're in a different era now, where our hardships not necessarily humanity. No one's necessarily fighting to be respected as a human or to be treated like a human. We're now fighting for material things. We want the bigger house, we want the bigger car, we want the lavish lifestyle, we want to be on reality television, we want to have the nice clothes, and we want to be able to have the bling bling. Those are the things now that we would consider a struggle. And that's not to take away from anyone who's doing the basic necessities in life, but we're talking about for a vast majority of Americans. We're now fighting for a little bit above survival means. We somewhat live in excess, and that speaks volumes to where we are in our economic times now. So I think that if you're able to look at your lifestyle and see where you're miserable, with the exception of a tragedy or something traumatic taking place, and there's a certain amount of time to be considered to deal with that. If you look at what a regular person is struggling with, or a regular person is miserable about, it's usually something that they can turn around with a shifting of their energy. It doesn't require a major shift to change your energy. It doesn't require a major shift to change your life. It just requires a little bit of awareness, a little bit of consciousness, and a lot of consistency. And the more and more you move towards a different direction, the easier it is, or the easier it will be for you to be able to look back and say, I was miserable by choice. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. So in life, you will deal with pain, and I completely understand that. However, to suffer is your choice. No one is required to suffer, but we're all required to bear some form of pain through which life may throw at us. But keep in mind that suffering that you're going through, that misery that you're going through, that's an option. And for those who may say to me, well, it may be an option, but I have no other choice. Well, then that says ask for the help that is out there who can give you those different choices. And then that will shift into the thought of life not being full of problems, but full of choices. And the more choices and the more options that you have, the better chances you will to make better choices for yourself.
And there's always an option. It
There
might not
is
be the
always,
easiest option.
it may
or
not be the
easiest
best
choice.
option, but there's always an option. And the problem is not really for most people if there is or is not an option, as most people don't want to activate their courage to make that decision. Most people feel more comfortable not making that choice or waiting for someone to make it for them than to act out in faith or act out in courage and do it themselves. For whatever reason is fine. But just know that if you're in a situation where you feel like you have no authority, you feel like you have no options, you feel like you have no choices, make yourself a little vulnerable to someone who you trust that can give you ground advice, or do the work yourself. Do some reading, do some research. Everyone has access to the internet. Everyone has access to books. You can go into Barnes and Nobles and read their books for free all day. with all due respect to Barnes and Nobles. But, you know, you have access to these things, but you have to take action. You have to snap and break through in order to free yourself. And if you don't take that action, then you will stay in your misery. You will stay in your discomfort. You will stay in your despair. And that's a choice. Everybody has a choice.
And that's actually a good segue into what I want to do is pretty much open it up to everybody in earshot and our viewership to submit a question to Jamel.
Yeah, please do.
Jamel has an opinion on everything. So if you have a question or a topic or an issue you want Jamel to address, send it to us. I'll put up the information here.
Excellent.
On the site.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at this, you can go to vulvaaddiction.com and get it, or on our YouTube page. The information is there as well. And just send us either a video clip if you have a webcam. Send it to us as a video response to Sheikh Jamel's video, or email it to the information on our webpage, and we'll make sure that he gets it, and we'll address it as needed. As soon as we can get Jamel back, we'll get him to answer a couple of questions.